rather a backbone for the nation's welfare and its security, and the reason of its hegemony in the pecking order of the world. Now, let us see the bailouts of present times. In 2008, as everybody else might remember, Government of India, the central government, had a bailout package, a relief package, to waive off agricultural loans, totaling to a staggering amount of 716.8 billion rupees, to waive off farm loans of debt-laden farmers, majorly small and marginalized farmers. This bailout is really one of the biggest bailouts, if not the biggest bailouts, in the history of independent India. Secondly, in the same year, amidst the global financial crisis that originated in the US, the US Treasury Department had a troubled assets relief program, also known as TARP, that totaled to $700 billion to save eminent banks and Wall Street finance firms from collapsing. This was the scene at that time. Every imaginable big firm was heading to the US Treasury for bailout funds. Further, as this global crisis deepened, in 2008 and following year 2009, the US Federal Reserve Bank had a bailout package totaling to a much bigger sum, $8 trillion, to bail out giants like Citigroup, General Motors, Ford. That the reason cited for this and the justification was that these companies were too vital to let fail and have to be saved to put up the pieces containing the economy together. In 2011, the Delhi state government infused 500 crore rupees into BACS, a power firm responsible for supplying power into Delhi, where the government already had 49% stake, just to ensure smooth power supply. Presently, in 2011 and 2012, as we discuss every day, to prevent disintegration of the Eurozone as an economic center, due to sovereign debt crisis in member nations such as Greece, Ireland, and Portugal, the European Union collectively is working upon a comprehensive bailout package after taking some immediate steps to avoid immediate crisis. Back home, in our beleaguered civil aviation sector, to save the civil aviation industry from total collapse, Indian government has embarked upon framing debt restructuring plans, considering allowing foreign direct investment in the sector, and also considering lowering taxes for this sector. Now, the real reasons for bailouts. First reason is a lack of complete absence of regulation. In the collapse of the Wall Street finance firms, there was a clear and evident lack of regulation and strict rules regarding lending and interlending among banks and financial firms that led to recklessly creating complex and interconnected securities that were so complex that default on one part of the securities or one end of the market led to default on the entire chain, leading to entire markets drying up in an instant, fueling further panic. If the bailout had not been handled out, this was the scene where prestigious firms like Lehman Brothers failed, Merrill Lynch had to be taken out at throwaway prices, and American insurance group AIG or Bank of America, if not bailed out, would have seen the same fate as Lehman Brothers. Further, long-term economic goals are sometimes more vital, rather always more vital than short-term financial viability while policy making. Civil aviation, energy, power, minerals, urban and transport infrastructure are two vital important economic sectors to be left vulnerable to market forces of demand and supply, and very important to ensure sustained and unhindered economic growth over a longer period of time, overlooking or ignoring short-term financial impediments. And also, for agricultural bailouts, there are transition phases and processes in the life cycles of businesses that have to be taken care of. In the context of Indian government bailing out the agriculture sector to a staggering sum of 700 billion rupees, the majority of farmers that benefited out of this bailout needed shift from traditional and unscientific means to modern means of practicing agriculture and had to be helped through this phase and could not be really ignored. Now, the analysis of our whole discussion, well, bailout in a free market economy might sound contrary to real business principles, and in the predatory jungles of capitalism, those who are fittest to survive should be let to survive, and those decay should be left to dying. But do we really have a free market economy? No. Bailouts also sometimes signal that entities deemed too big to fail are overlooked and often forgiven for operating in unjust and unjustified ways at the expense of taxpayers' money, which might set a wrong precedent. It may also appear as an act of protecting those responsible for creating the situation and the chaos, that they are being protected, rather they